So it's funny because I think, a lot of people know me from the AC game because it's the most recent, I guess. But I really started out, like my first big jobs in the business were at Maxis in California. So I worked on the Sims franchise, I worked on Spore. I'm mostly interested in the narrative possibilities of systemic gameplay. So what we're really trying to do with this game, as much as possible, is empower the player even more. The open world of Far Cry 3 was amazing. It's a big toy box filled with animals and weapons and vehicles and this sort of stuff. We want to take that, blow it out, give you more things to do, more opportunities for these things to cross over. Obviously, we want to bring your best friend to the open world this time. So you can imagine all those possibilities squared. And then as much as possible, even though we're not going to get all the way to the end of the possibility space, but we want choice in the narrative as well. So hopefully what I'm bringing is an even greater emphasis on systemic gameplay, empowering the player, making it about their decisions and the story they tell themselves, as much as it is about sort of driving them through a series of cutscenes and missions. The fun part of Far Cry 4 is it's mostly the same team working on Far Cry 4. And they know every department has a laundry list. It's a great game, but everybody has a laundry list of things they weren't happy with. Even just with vehicles, we now have airborne vehicles, we have driving and shooting, we have all these little touches. The AI can now climb, big cats can leap up onto buildings with you and pursue you. In the greater sense, I think there's a whole sense of cohesiveness that we can improve on, and hopefully we have. Where, why are these characters living in this world? Where do they live? Why are they here? Can I watch them doing what they're doing? How do they connect to each other? Do they know each other? In my story of saving my buddies in Far Cry 3, why am I taking all these outposts? Why am I ignoring my buddy who's trapped in a basement? So there's all these sort of tweaks I think we can pull off. The concept of your actions in the world not connecting so much to the narrative of the game is something we've tried very, very hard to fix. The narrative, not to give too much away, but the narrative of capturing space and taking back space will also overlap heavily with the narrative of the fictional story. Hopefully they're in sync, so no matter what you're doing in the game, you're progressing your player narrative. The biggest argument, and it wasn't even an argument, it's just because everyone wants the game to be amazing. You don't have arguments which are like, you're wrong, that's crazy. You just have an argument like, I honestly believe this is a better answer for the game that we're making. And so for a while, it was Pat on one side and me on the other and Mark in the middle. And then sometimes we'd flip. We had weird, Earth 2 days where Pat would come in and say, I thought about your unified co-op thing and we really should do it. And I was like, I just thought we should give up. When we started the project, we had an idea for a co-op mode that sat next to the main campaign that you could also play whenever you want, and it would be 8 hours of content and all that sort of stuff. And the more we thought about it, I personally believe that every time you build a mode, you splinter your audience. Everyone's buying it for this single player campaign, we believe, and then some of those players will try your other modes. And we wanted everyone to try it, right? So why build something if no one's going to use it? But at the same time, we wanted to protect that immersive, more controlled single-player experience. And so we came up with an idea we're calling Guns for Hire. So Guns for Hire is basically that at any point in the open world, you can call on your buddy and they can join you, and all that single-player content turns off and all the co-op content turns on. And in the overlap in the middle, we have all the outposts, all the sort of bell towers we've built, all of this shared content. So if I invite you into my game, we can conquer half the map together, and that progress still helps me in my single player game. And you will take back all the XP, all the unlocks you've earned, all the ammo, all the the money back to your single player game. But you still have that immersive narrative. We know, for example, as soon as another player's in the world, plenty of players skip cutscenes already, and as soon as some other player's there, they skip all of them.
Do you feel like you learned a lot of co-op lessons working on Army of Two, 40th Day?
Yeah, I do. It was a lot of fun, a very tight-knit group of guys. I'm super proud of what we got done. And the thing that we learned the most, I believe, in retrospect, is that sort of synced co-op games are much harder to execute and less popular because they demand the player to treat each other like a lock and key. So in other words, if I need you to do exactly this exactly now, it lowers player expression. Even if there are 4 or 5 locks and keys for this situation, we feel like we're sort of being railroaded. Whereas you look at games like Left 4 Dead, or you look at games like even Gears of War in co-op, and they're freeform, and even though they don't really have many mechanics for being co-op, you're always thinking about the other player. And so really, whatever playstyle you've adopted, it'll work.
So what's been the most challenging part of the development so far?
Dan Hay. Is he in here? No, thank God. He looks, damn it, yeah, it's all right, he's old. What I'm finding the most challenging, not to be personal for 5 minutes, but most challenging for me is real life has become challenging in terms of game development. We're all getting older. When I got in the biz, it was 23. No one even had girlfriends, let alone wives and children. can't work 80 hours a week with a child. They get angry. They starve.
So Far Cry 4 is disappointing. It's because of your child.
Yes, it's Casper Hutchinson's fault. No, it's most challenging. That really is the most challenging thing. I think most challenging is getting up to speed fast enough to keep pace with the team. You know, whenever you join a project where everyone made the last one, there's a shorthand, there's an understanding of problems. It's very tricky to navigate that as a new person in a senior role without upsetting it, but at the same time being able to challenge people and say, well, 90% of this sounds fantastic, but I still don't understand this last 10%. You know, so am I asking the wrong question, or should we turn this rock over and, you know, go back and figure out if maybe there's a different answer or a better answer. So the guys have been super generous with their time, and you know, now it's the same. You know, I think what I'm most excited about at this point is once we get it out there, if we've done our job properly and all of the tools do fit together systemically, and you can chain them and interact with them, and then all of that fits together with your best friend, then I'm really looking forward to the online videos. You know, we've seen some funny stuff. Dan's probably talked about already about like people torturing turtles in bizarre ways in Far Cry 3. So I shudder to think what will happen to elephants with 2 players and all the tools we have. But you know, it's seeing people create fun in your toy box in ways you didn't expect. That's really rewarding.